Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Leadnap Gaming. Today we're going to talk about cargo trading as we gear up for the Hercules Starlifter release. Again, a quick reminder for our 10k sub giveaway. It's not the cargo version, but the A2 Hercules is a contender for our 10k sub giveaway, so make sure to comment and subscribe below to enter. 3.12.1 released, and with it the long-awaited fix to cargo trading terminals. Now, I've been expecting that trade would be fixed in 3.13 with the release of the flashy and heavily anticipated Hercules Starlifter ship line. The good news is we got this fix a touch early, and generally speaking, trade is alive and well in Stanton. There are still a few hiccups, one or two producers are no-fly zones, some terminals are still buggy, and many of us would certainly make the argument that the amount of goods to be transported could be exponentially higher. Still, once again, we can do my favorite Star Citizen pastime, cargo hauling. Today I'm going to walk you guys through how I've been doing cargo runs lately, because like everything in Star Citizen, you can do an activity and make almost nothing, or do an activity and make bank. The truth about cargo running currently is that mass hauling really isn't where the best money is right now. Mid-sized transporters, on the other hand, are working really well, and that's good news for a lot of players who don't own a mass hauler. Well, what do I mean? I break cargo ships into three size classes: small, medium, and mass. Small cargo ships are your everyday driver, an Aurora, Freelancer, the vaunted Cuddy Black. Medium are your ships above the Black, working our way into, say, the Freelancer Max at 120 SCU. These are ships that move a good quantity, but are still fast, easy to land, and so forth, oftentimes not drawing a whole lot of attention to themselves. The existing Connies fit in here too. Mass haulers are everything from a Connie Taurus, Caterpillar, and the Hercs, of course also adding the larger Hull series of ships which have yet to be put in the game. Now I break this down this way because you shouldn't be running the same class for all cargo. If you fill an Aurora with Widow, for example, you're in for a nice payday, and the rest of your week won't be spent at the trade terminal constantly refreshing to sell a few units at a time. It isn't that a cat full of space drugs won't land you a rags to riches special on SCTV in the middle of the night. It's that you'll spend every day until patch 3.13 goes live trying to sell that cargo hold. On the other hand, iodine isn't worth the gas to haul it for a Cuddy Black. But a Caterpillar full of the stuff can yield a few grand. So we begin by checking out Galog, link below, and keep in mind this is my preferred tool. There are others, and everyone has an opinion on which is best. I am not concerned with how recent or accurate the information is. Namely, I just want to see the rough buy and sell pricing, and most importantly, who takes what and how much at a time. This determines my routes. Everyone over time develops a min-max meta run, but especially in a fluctuating server stability environment, sometimes it's best to just see what's going to work for today. I want to clarify here. You can apply simple math and see that running, say, Laranite from Daymar to New Babbage will bring in $250,000, so long as you have $1 or $2 to put into it, and as long as you're willing to lose it. If so, go make that money. Server stability is still the biggest risk to your cargo run, and the route I just mentioned is one of the longest your cat could take. I personally prefer short routes, in system if possible. I usually walk everywhere in Star Citizen, but when that cargo deck is loaded, run, lead, run. I try to keep my entire travel time from pickup to landed engines off in under 10 minutes. I also prefer to choose Spawnable End Destinations. This is because once you're landed, most of the time a 30k can now happen, and your ship is safely stored, cargo and wallet intact. If you're selling at a ground station, for example, a 30k will take your cargo with it, or worse, you can still see your cat full of Widows stored at Riari Labs. But you can't spawn it. It just laughs at you with your hard-earned credits forever gone. Now, up till this point, what you've been watching was my first run, and I like to make the first run in a small ship like that 315. The reason I do it in a small ship is I'm using something that's very fast, very efficient, and I'm testing to make sure that the commodity I want to pick up is down there that there's enough of it, that nobody else just went and cleaned it out ahead of me, and get an idea of what the entire approach is going to look like so that I can fly it as fast as possible. As we get ready to get out of here, I'm going to bring up another point. As I get started here, and we're going to see this in a moment, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let my shields kind of get up to strength while I'm sitting on the pad. No rush to get out of here. I'm also going to spool my quantum drive. That way I only have to wait while I set the route. I only have to wait for my drive to calibrate once it's on. And that means the least amount of time I'm pointed at where I'm going. And that's because, as we can see, there are 2 other players here at Olisar. I don't know what ships they're in. I could try to go look, but I'm safer off just knowing that the least amount of time I telegraph to them what I am about to do, the safer my route will be. The worst thing you can do, especially in something that has a really long spool and calibration time, is point right where you're going in something that's obviously a cargo hauling ship, because that just tells everybody that wants to grief you where to hang out and go. And it's not hard to figure out, right? We're probably going to pick up distilled spirits. Why? Because that's one of the most profitable things right now. There's only one place on Daymar to do that, which means you don't have to see me go there. If you know I'm going to Daymar, it's a pretty good guess that I'm going right where we are going. If need be, jump to a different area of the verse, cut your engines halfway through the jump if you need to, and then jump to your destination. I'm not saying jump halfway to ArtCorp and then come back to Daymar, but I'm saying maybe jump to one of the OM points around Crusader and then jump over here to Daymar. So as we complete our descent, you're going to notice I'm going to go as fast as I can, but again, I just flew this in my 300 series, so I have a very good idea of exactly what I'm about to do, so I can do it really fast. Let's talk about margins. Now, as I alluded to before, yeah, Laranite is great. You pick the stuff up, you get a great profit off of it, and you're able to sell it at TDD en masse. The problem is, not only is Laranite not sold in huge quantities at a time very often, unless you get really lucky, but you also have to invest a ton into it. You're looking at like 25 UEC buy price for like a 27 UEC sell price, and that's great because you're getting 2 credits profit margin. But the problem is that you're going to put in potentially a couple million credits to fully load a cat with the stuff. Okay, if you get a 30K in that period of time, that's all money gone. At the same time, you might not have that kind of money to invest in. The thing is don't look at margins necessarily as the amount of credits you're going to get out of it, but look at the percentage, right? Because you could run something like titanium, which is much, much cheaper, but has a similar margin. So, yeah, you would make a lot more with Laranite, but you'll invest less, and it's a safer load to run the titanium. What we're actually going to see here in a moment is that I'm actually going to pull iodine out of here. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, iodine is not a great commodity for small haulers, but once you start moving into mass quantity, less than a credit worth of profit for something you're carrying a couple 100,000 of is a good profit with very little risk. We'll use dollars and cents here. If I put $1.10 in and I'm getting $1.50 back when I sell it, that's 40 cents a unit. But again, I'm not making mega profit. But what I am doing is not losing a ton of money if I'm intercepted, if I 30K, if I crash into the surface of the planet, what have you. So keep in mind, look at the percentage of what the margin is, because at the end of the day, that's really what you want to look at doing. Now here's another consideration. Notice, we just looked, I brought cargo down with me. I don't usually do this, but I do know that I can sell ag supplies here. And because this isn't a super profitable run, I decided to, min-max this baby and bring some stuff with me. That's risky because someone else might have done the same thing a couple minutes ahead of me, and now this station won't buy all that cargo, which means I can't pick up that cargo because I can't offload it. Now I could wait, risk a 30k or a griefer. Now, fortunately here, they took it. I also didn't fully load because I looked ahead of time to see what the max buy demand would be in order to meet that. You can go over it because as you see here, it's 50 units and I sold 53 SCU instead. But what I wanted to make sure of was that I could offload it, so I kept it low. Now you can see here, because I also just did a distilled spirits run with my smaller test ship, I'm not going to get a full load of distilled spirits out of here. Now a lot of people would sit here, wait for the refresh, and just keep refreshing until they get a full load of distilled spirits. We don't want to do that. Again, that's just begging for a griefer to get down here. We want to be as fast as we can possibly be. Revenant tree products would be pretty cool, but we can't sell those at Olisar. And that means once we land at Olisar and we offload, now I got to take part of my ship, take that over somewhere else to sell it. So instead, we're going to take processed food. Now, here's an example of what I was just talking about. The margin isn't incredible on it, but it's very inexpensive to buy, which means we're not going to really see this like incredible margin, but we should get about 0.2 credits per unit. And keep in mind, there's 100 units in an SCU. So we're good, right? We're going to make some money on that. Now, we're carrying distilled spirits, our high roller bill, but what we couldn't fill with that, we're going to fill with whatever else is next best. The other factor here is time. Now, earlier when I was talking about 10 minutes, I mean like 10 minutes from right now when we loaded it up to when I'm landed. This isn't even going to take us that long. Now, unfortunately, we've already cleaned out the spirits here, but there are other spirit locations in this part of Stanton. So we could run to one of those, clean that out, head back, sell, run back down here. And if you make a bunch of back-to-back-to-back little quick runs like this that maybe don't have the same feel of that, 30-minute profit trip from here all the way to New Babbage, you're actually going to make more money. Now, as we take off, we have a couple of considerations. This is the riskiest period of time for us, both from a server and from a griefer issue. Now, normally what I would do is just take off and then right above the surface, just jet straight out, building as much speed as I could. Now, I didn't do that here, partly because as we had come down and last time, we were able to see Crusaders, so I was able to immediately know the direction I needed to point without having to do what we're doing right now. However, if you do have to do that, the best thing you can do is be building a lot of speed, even if you're not gaining a lot of altitude, especially if you're pointed away from where you're actually going. Always avoid the route that people expect you to take. However, you can see here, we're really close to Port Olisar, so I'm not too worried. I mean, we're going direct at this point, but this is where we want to be fast. I run everywhere, and I fly as fast as I can. The reason that we want to be really fast is right in front of us. There's a Saber parked and a guy getting into it. Now, we originally knew that we were placed on one of these 00 pads when I took off. So coming back to Olisar, I know it's probably going to tell me to sit on one of these. You notice I'm obstructing the parking area. They're giving me the impound warning, and I did not call for landing. I did that for a very specific reason. We are on the furthest pad away from the spawn terminal. It will take me a minute to get there. It's going to take even longer than a minute for me to spawn another ship to get this ship off of this pad so it can't be pad rammed. I can also just let the vehicle be impounded as you see here, and what's going to happen? It's going to drop me back in the station, which is cheating if you want to think about it that way, but more importantly, my ship is no longer on that pad. As we can see here, it's been impounded. Not a big deal, because I'm going to be here for more than 5 minutes anyway, or I'll just pay the minimal little fee. Think of it as a valet fee. Most importantly, I can sell the products of my impounded vehicle while it's impounded. So, it can't be pad rammed now, and I can sell my cargo. Like I said, this is how I've been trading recently. If you want to run big mass routes on those really long ones and make really big money, risking it all, and if you've got several million, it's okay to risk it. Great, do it, enjoy it, you'll always make a ton of money doing that. What I wanted to show you guys here was how to make more money doing the shorter routes and considering that maybe your min-max strategy could be adjusted. In the comments section below, if you've got another web tool or any other tips or tricks that you want to let everyone know about, go ahead, drop them down in the comments below. Or if you've got a great route that works really well right now. As always, like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, and I will catch you all next time.